Hey everyone, and welcome back. Let's dive right into today's explainer, where we're taking a whirlwind journey through the most pressing updates out there. We're talking society, the environment, defense, energy, and yes, even deep space exploration. We've got a ton of really fascinating ground to cover, so let's just get right into it. So here's our agenda for today. We're kicking things off with society and political updates. Then we'll hit environment, law, and pollution. After that, maritime defense featuring the INS Malvin. Next up, the annual fuel debate. And we'll wrap up by discovering Beta Pictoris b. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Society and Political Updates, focusing on health and legislation. Over 7,000. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering number of students, specifically between the ages of 18 and 25, who've recently tested positive for HIV in the state of Karnataka. And you know what's particularly concerning here is that reports are actually indicating a lot more individuals might be infected without even knowing it. This is why early testing and timely treatment are absolutely crucial. Medical experts keep emphasizing that, with the right care, folks with HIV can live very, very healthy lives. So, in response, the Karnataka government is stepping up with mandatory testing, counseling, and awareness camps across colleges. But hey, the domestic political landscape is buzzing just as much, right? We've got Ashutosh Ranka meeting with farmer leader Rakesh Tikhait, trying to build a united front of farmers, students, and youth against the Modi government. Meanwhile, over in Parliament, things are definitely heated. A major debate has sparked over an incident involving Rahul Gandhi's microphone, with the BJP and Congress taking totally opposing stances. But amidst all this friction, actual legislative movement is happening. The Lok Sabha just successfully passed the new paper leak bill, which actually features input from the Nandan Nilekani Committee. Moving right along to Section 2, Environment, Law, and Pollution. Let's look at the true cost of infrastructure. Okay, so in a truly monumental ruling for the One Shakti versus Union of India case, the Supreme Court has officially drawn a hard line. You know how when we build massive infrastructure like highways or railways, a ton of trees usually have to be cleared? Well, that requires approval from the Union Ministry of Environment. The court just strictly ruled that seeking environmental clearance after starting a project, basically this loophole known as the ex post facto route, actually violates Articles 14 and 21 of the Constitution. That makes it entirely illegal. So large industrial players literally can't just start construction and bank on getting retrospective approvals later. Pre-clearance is absolutely mandatory now before a single brick is even laid. Now, to combat the frankly severe air pollution caused by burning coal, we rely on something called flue gas desulfurization, or FGD technology. When thermal power plants burn coal, they pump enormous amounts of carbon and sulfur into the air. And if that sulfur builds up in the atmosphere, we get acid rain. Acid rain doesn't just wreck human respiratory health, it actually erodes infrastructure. I mean, just look at the yellowing of the Taj Mahal. FGD acts like a giant, crucial filter that extracts all that toxic sulfur dioxide before it ever gets a chance to leave the smokestack. But here's the thing, there is a massive pollution disparity unfolding right now. Back in 2015, installing FGD was supposed to be completely mandatory. But, as often happens, deadlines were pushed back and plants got divided up into different categories. Category A plants, these are the ones in densely populated cities with over 1 million people. Well, they complied, and they currently emit around 16 kilotons of sulfur. But then you have Category C plants. These are rural-based and make up a massive 78% of the national fleet. And they were entirely exempted from installing FGDs. Because of this exemption, they are pumping a staggering 138 kilotons of sulfur dioxide right into our air. So the reality here is pretty stark. India currently stands as the second largest sulfur emitter in the entire world, sitting just behind China. The top polluters operating without these filters, that includes the Rajpura, Talwandi Sabo, Rajiv Gandhi, Guru Har Gobind, Hardulganj, and Roper thermal power stations. On the flip side, we do have some top performers actively using FGD technology to keep things clean, like the Dadri and Mahatma Gandhi plants. But honestly, the exemption of that 78%, it's posing a real severe threat to public health and our environment. All right, let's shift gears and dive into Section 3, Maritime Defense and the INS Malvin. To really protect our busy littoral zones and shallow coastal waters from potential enemy submarine threats, the Indian Navy has literally just commissioned the INS Malvan. This is a highly advanced vessel, acting as the second ship in the Mahe class, right after the INS Mahe itself. These brand new ships are stepping up to replace the older, aging Abai-class corvettes. It's a huge upgrade, ensuring our sprawling maritime borders and super important trade routes stay highly secure. And I just love this. Its powerful motto is Silent Claw. This is beautifully represented in the ship's official logo by the Baghnach, or tiger claws. Now, if you know your history, that's a weapon deeply associated with the legendary Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. It perfectly captures the ship's core identity, immense bravery, incredible agility, and this stealthy, almost ghost-like ability to silently hunt down and strike enemy submarines with zero warning. This whole stealth philosophy totally dictates how the ship actually operates in the water. A really key feature here is its incredibly low draft. Think about it. Most massive naval ships require seriously deep water to operate, otherwise they just run aground, right? But the INS Malvan's low draft means the stealth hunter can easily maneuver in extremely shallow harbor waters and littoral zones. Those are the super busy coastal areas where the deep sea meets the shore. Plus, aside from just hunting submarines, it can lay underwater mines and run localized, low-intensity military ops. It's an incredibly versatile protector for India's coasts. Moving on to Section 4, the anneal fuel debate. We're looking at how we might power our future. So, enter anneal. That stands for Advanced Nuclear Energy for Enriched Life. It was developed by a US-based company called Clean Core Thorium Energy, or CCTE. This patented fuel promises a lot. We're talking lower electricity costs, way higher efficiency, and significantly less nuclear waste. It sounds like a total game changer. However, despite all those incredible benefits, actually integrating it into India's power grid is currently sitting at a pretty tense crossroads. The actual makeup of anneal is a massive strategic advantage for India. It basically combines thorium with haleu, that's high-assay, low-enriched uranium. Now, why does this matter so much? Well, India happens to hold the world's absolute largest reserves of thorium. It's specifically extracted from the monazite sands found all across our coastal states, like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Odisha. So using anneal means India could finally tap into its own massive domestic resources, rather than constantly relying on uranium imports from places like Australia or Canada. But as you might guess, here's where the conflict lies. India's premier nuclear body, the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, has raised some very serious concerns. They are worried that using this new fuel is going to require massive, time-consuming, and potentially really unsafe redesigns of India's existing nuclear reactors. On the completely opposite side, the US developer CTE flat out rejects this. They insist that anneal is entirely plug-and-play, meaning absolutely zero structural modifications are needed to safely use the fuel right this second. This debate isn't just theoretical. It's highly relevant and the stakes are genuinely massive. Let me give you a number. 18. India currently has 22 operational nuclear reactors, and 18 of those are pressurized heavy water reactors, or PHWRs. That happens to be the exact specific type of reactor that this anneal fuel is designed to power. So think about it. If the US company is right, it could literally revolutionize India's energy grid overnight. But if Bark is right, the safety and logistical risks are just monumental. And finally, Section 5. We are blasting off Earth entirely to talk about discovering Beta Pictoris b. Meet Beta Pictoris b. It's a faint, extremely cold gas giant exoplanet that orbits its own massive parent star, Beta Pictoris. To put its size into perspective, it's actually larger than our own Jupiter, and it's sitting about 63 light-years away from Earth. But what makes this massive exoplanet so incredibly captivating is the fact that it had completely vanished from our view. Yeah, you heard that right, because it takes a whopping 91 Earth years to complete just one single orbit around its parent star. Its actual path caused it to become visually obscured. It remained totally hidden from human observation for approximately 10 years. No one could see it. But recently, thanks to the sheer immense power of advanced tools like the Very Large Telescope down in Chile and NASA's James Webb Space Telescope, this fading planet has finally stepped back out of the shadows. It reemerged into our view, and it's offering scientists some seriously unprecedented data on planetary formation. And honestly, that brings us to the end of our deep dive today. When you step back and look at it, from managing toxic coal emissions and navigating really complex societal health issues, to safely wielding these advanced nuclear fuels and mapping out hidden planets 63 light-years away, every single leap forward demands a profound level of responsibility. So, I want to leave you with this thought. What is your biggest takeaway from today's journey? Are we truly ready for what comes next? Keep questioning, keep learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.